Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're here with some more NFL DFS picks and lineup advice for tonight's single game showdown slate. Thursday night football. Philadelphia Eagles, Houston Texans. Oh, we got a game here on Thursday. Welcome. I'm Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy, single game $1 million winner. If you've seen these videos before, you know what we do. If you're not, welcome. What we normally do is we talk about the injuries that impact the DFS slate, low risk and high risk lineup construction tips, general high level strategies to help you win tonight. So before we do get started, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I say this every week, at least the last couple of videos I've been saying it since NBA started, and we're putting out multiple videos per day. Sometimes the YouTube algorithm doesn't necessarily push one or the other to you if you like the video. So making sure you're subscribed is the easiest way. If you like the video, just subscribe and you'll see these in your feed when they pop up. When we do these showdown videos every Monday and Thursday. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Lets us know to continue to make it. Helps YouTube know that other people should like this type of video. Helps everybody out. Any questions, and there will be a lot of questions for this slate, I encourage you to ask here on the YouTube channel. Just comment on the video below. I'll monitor it throughout the day and answer you. If you want more in-depth answers, you want to chat with other members of the community, you want to talk with the staff, you want to be in the live Q&A before NBA locks every single night, just join our Discord server, occupyfantasy.com/Discord. That info is in the description below. So all that aside, let's get into it. Now, Philadelphia is a 14-point favorite here. Short week on Thursday. No one gives Houston a shot, rightfully so. Philly looks like a dominant team. Houston is coming off a game where they scored, 3 points against Tennessee, and don't look great. Let's be honest about it. So 14-point favorites, we know what the field is going to do, right? It's very clear. But let's just walk through each key step here and talk about how we're trying to attack the slate. The first one, and the most important piece of news, is Brandon Cooks. Technically questionable. The age-old wrist/personal questionable tag. Cooks was upset. He didn't get traded. Thought he was going to get traded by the Tuesday deadline. Didn't participate in practice this week. Sat out. So unlikely to play, at least judging by practice participation. He could always suit up. I'm recording this at 10 a.m. on Thursday morning. Multiple national reporters have said that they do not expect Cooks to play, but it's not confirmed just yet. It's a very real possibility they come to peace with this situation this afternoon and he plays. Either way, we do not expect him to play, but you'll have to monitor it throughout the day because obviously that's a big piece of news if Cooks is in versus out. Now, Nico Collins is also out. He missed last week. Let's go down here. With a groin injury, hasn't practiced in a week and a half. He won't play tonight. Either way, they're going to have to call up someone from the practice squad. They have 3 guys on the practice squad. They have 3 healthy wide receivers on the active roster in addition to Brandon Cooks. So 4 guys if you include Cooks. They're going to need someone off the practice squad. And if we don't get any potential news, if they call up multiple receivers, probably a good indication that Cooks is not going to play. But let's talk about the rotations here really quickly. With Nico out last week, it was Philip Dorsett who took his role. Let's find Philip Dorsett. Let's scroll. Philip Dorsett, where are you, buddy? Here he is. 6K, 4K in the flex. Philip Dorsett ran the most routes for the Texans last week as an outside wide receiver. Chris Moore continues to handle the slot work for the Texans. He'll probably see an increased role if Cooks is out tonight as well, probably being 2 wide receiver sets. Recently signed Tyron Johnson. Let's keep scrolling. Tyron Johnson, minimum price. He'll be the wide receiver 3 if Brandon Cooks is out tonight. Anytime we have a wide receiver 3 at minimum price, we have to take note of that. Other guys that could be called up, we have Davion Davis, we have Johnson. Where is he? Johnson the third, and we also have, let's find him here. It is Jalen Camp. Now, if you played preseason DFS, you know all these guys. We played a ton of them in preseason DFS. So these guys can put up points if they get some snaps. Let's just monitor who gets called up. Either way, if Cooks is out, we know that Dorsett's going to be the guy, Chris Moore's going to be the guy, and then we can mix in these other receivers that come in our large field contest because, again, in any type of game script, they could get there with a couple of catches. So we need to know those names. And I think that's it, honestly. No other real information as far as or injuries. Now, defensive tackle Jordan Davis, who's been great for the Eagles, he's out on injured reserve. That certainly helps whatever the Houston Texans can muster in the run game, so it helps Dameon Pierce a bit. But again, the spread hasn't moved. It's still 14 points. Looks like a blowout. Now, what does this mean for low risk and high risk contests? Let's start with low risk contests. 50-50s, double ups, head to heads. Just have to beat half the field. Double your money. If you read our showdown guide, if you haven't, make sure you read it. It's in the description below the link where we talk about historical strategies to be profitable in showdown. If you talk about low risk, we try to either lock a ball to scoring or play the values. 14-point spread, it's a little difficult because not many people are going to play the 14-point underdog quarterback. Because if you try to do this, let's just go here. If you played Hurts, Miles Sanders is the lead back for Philly. Dameon Pierce is obviously the lead dog for Houston. Davis Mills, $21.50 per player. We could make this work. We could play some of these cheaper guys. I don't think that's what the field is going to do. The field will probably choose one of Pierce or Mills, and they'll probably choose Pierce, judging by his workload, his fantasy scoring. I mean, just look at the fantasy points per game. Pierce has averaged more fantasy points per game than Davis Mills has as a running back versus a quarterback. So I think the field will go Pierce over Mills, and if you need to save salary, that's probably the guy you want to cut. As 14-point favorites, obviously the Philly special teams are great plays. The kicker, Jake Elliott, is $4,800, a little more expensive than a normal kicker. Remember, we were talking about the other slate. Justin Tucker was only $4K. Elliott's $4,800, a little bit more expensive than we've seen a kicker. And this is the highest defense we've seen all year, as the Eagles are $7K on DraftKings. Now, I understand this is a great spot, but it is really tough for a defense at $7,000 to be in the optimal lineup. Yes, they're probably going to score double-digit points. Are they going to score 15 plus? That remains to be seen. They have to outscore, if Cooks plays, they have to outscore Devonta Smith, Goddard. But that's one of the issues here, right? It's just Goddard, really. Maybe Smith if you go up a little more. And they're priced next to the backup quarterbacks. And Houston's wide receiver too. There's a real chance if someone is needed in this price range that it is the Eagles. So while on the surface it seems like they're a terrible play at that price tag, could certainly see them getting there in specific lineup constructions because really there's nobody else around them that can score points aside from Goddard. So on first glance, it looks tough, but I think they'll actually be optimal a little higher than you would initially give them credit for. So either way, Eagles, Elliott, some combo here, something like this. And I think the value play that a lot of people will go to on DraftKings is Brevin Jordan. He's 1K. Starting tight end, if you look at the routes run last week for Houston, these are courtesy of Pro Football Focus. Brevin Jordan ran 18 routes last week. The other two tight ends on the roster ran 12 routes each. So Brevin Jordan, I think, is going to be the popular guy here. So maybe you do something like this. That could be a possibility. Now, the issue here is you don't have A.J. Brown, you don't have Devonta Smith, you don't have Dallas Goedert. But again, they're not necessarily values. They're not locking up all the scoring. This certainly does. So it's the same concept over on FanDuel. Hurts, Pierce, Sanders, $72.50 per player. You can play the values to make it work. Now, Miles Sanders, not like he's a workhorse back, and it's not like he's super cheap. So $13K isn't necessarily helping you in a low-risk lineup. The other option here is, I do think people will play Pierce a decent amount, but the other option here is either play one of Pierce or Sanders instead of playing both plus two values. So let's just say we take out Pierce. You don't like him as a 14-point underdog. I think that's pretty fair to say, especially at $15K, more expensive than the quarterback. Now you can play the Eagles defense. You can play Elliott. You can play three mid-range guys, and that's probably the move over playing three top guys and two values on this particular slate. Now, let's talk about high-risk contests, GPPs, league satellites, exponential payouts. You have to beat a lot of people to win a lot of money or to win a ticket. Let's go back over to DraftKings. And I think it's no surprise, given the spread, that most people will lean Philly heavy here. Give me 1 second. Let's get a drink. No surprise. And we expect Jalen Hurts to push for highest owned captain ever on this type of slate. 30% plus would not be surprising. 50, 60, 70% plus would not be shocking at all in the largest contest on FanDuel at MVP. And generally, I would think, we're going to fade that because what's the odds that Hurts is the optimal captain MVP? Is it that rate? Probably not. However, I guess there's two angles here that help you if you want to get different and play Hurts captain lineups. One is we have so many cheap, different Houston pieces. We have all three of the tight ends. And if Cooks is out, we have 3 to 5 receivers that are cheaper, that can help you save salary, and most of which are going to go lower owned. Outside of maybe Dorsett, and definitely outside of Brevin Jordan, all the other guys are going to be probably sub 20%, which is fine if you're going to play Hurts at captain. The other idea here is, and we saw it last week, Eagles got up big. Hurts didn't play basically the fourth quarter. Now, if Hurts and the starters are out, and this is a tactic that is rarely used in Showdown, but you play a Philly onslaught lineup. You play Philly, five Eagles, 1 Texan. But part of those Eagles, you can play the backups because, especially the cheaper ones, if they get there late, if it's a blowout and those are the guys getting work, it's very conceivable that they're in the optimal lineup. Who are those guys? So we're talking about Boston Scott, right? We saw him get work last week, 7 carries in garbage time, basically. Got a little bit of work early, but 7 carries in garbage time. He can certainly get there. We have Zach Pascal, who is 2,800. He'll be the wide receiver 1 in this garbage time scenario. We have the backup tight ends. Who are they? Where we have let's sort by position here. Let's go up to tight end. We have Jack Stoll. We have Calcaterra. We have some of the other receivers like Britton Covey. That's a really good way because all these guys are going to be sub 5%. And if you play Hurts, 3 other Eagles, and one of these backup players, no one's really going to do that. And if you think the Eagles blow them out, that's the way you can go. It's the same over on FanDuel. If you're going to play Hurts, if you're going to play a 60-70% MVP, you got to make sure you get one super low-owned guy in there if you don't want to tie with 100 people. So all those guys, plus the Texans guys, either Phillies backup or Eagles backups. Phillies, I got the World Series on my mind. Either Eagles backups or the Texans rotational pieces. Any of these players can get there in any type of game script, really, but the backups especially in a blowout game script. Now, the other way, which the field will not do, we know this, 14-point underdogs, play Texans-heavy lineups, at least 3 Texans in your lineup. Now, that seems scary and probably seems dumb, but let's just think about this. The NFL, it's a short week. A lot of the Eagles are expensive. There's a real chance that Hurts, let's just say it's concentrated scoring. Hurts throws multiple touchdowns to A.J. Brown again, multiple touchdowns to Devonta Smith, one of them. Sanders dominates running back opportunities and gets the touchdown variance. There's a real chance that because some of these guys are more expensive that we only see 2 or 3 in the optimal lineup. And as Houston plays catch up in the second half, some of these rotational wide receivers and tight ends actually get there. Seems crazy, but the field's not going to play at least 3 Texans in a lineup. And again, short week. It's a clear overlooking spot for the Eagles. Right, they're not looking forward to going on the road, playing Houston on Thursday night in between important games. It's the prototypical spot. Now, is Houston remotely good enough to make this competitive? Probably not. But again, that's what the field knows that, and the field's not going to play that. So to recap, monitor the Brandon Cooks news. If you're still watching this video, appreciate it. And there's a good chunk of you that only watch are never going to pay for DFS content. Totally understand, and that's totally fine. Obviously get that. We appreciate you tuning in every week to these videos for that. However, if you want to gain an edge, you're willing to learn a little bit more, I encourage you to go to OccupyFantasy.com, sign up, check out our daily plug, which our writer Bismo will put out by 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern, outline all the specific strategies for the slate rankings and contest-specific constructions. Our Occupy model will update throughout the day with projected ownership and our proprietary rankings for FanDuel, DraftKings, and Yahoo. It's a great way if you're, do I play this guy or this guy? This guy can be higher owned. Just check out the model that has all of your information. So if you like this information, go to the site, check it out. You'll learn a lot more and get you even more prepared for this showdown slate. So that'll do it for the video. Again, make sure you're subscribed if you like the video. That way, YouTube, the algorithm doesn't push it out of your way because we're doing multiple videos per day. It's a real chance that happens. So just make sure you're subscribed. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content. Appreciate it. And any questions you have, you can always comment on this video. More importantly, join our Discord server, chat with everybody else of the OccupyFantasy.com community. So, Brian Jester, Occupy Fantasy, thanks for listening, and good luck in this Eagles and Texans showdown slate.